After spending hours setting up a surprise backyard barbecue for my wife and her father, I was standing at the grill when I heard him say, "Still jumping through hoops like a trained dog, huh?" She smirked and replied, "Of course, Dad. He's like a reliable doormat, always there to step on." They laughed while I plated the steaks. Later, I heard her tell him, "The best thing about him is that he doesn't even realize how pathetic he is." I just smiled and said nothing. 3 weeks later, my phone started receiving her increasingly desperate voice messages. "Hey everyone, before we dive in, I have a quick favor to ask. If you enjoy content like this, please hit the subscribe button. It's free, supports the channel, and ensures you never miss out on amazing videos." Alright, let's get started. Last Saturday was our 8th anniversary, and I wanted to do something special for Abigail. She'd been mentioning how much she missed having her dad over since the pandemic, and how they used to do these big family cookouts when she was growing up. So I spent 3 weeks planning the perfect surprise backyard barbecue. At 6 a.m., I woke up early while she was still sleeping to start prepping. I got those fancy Wagyu steaks from that specialty butcher across town. It cost a small fortune, but whatever, it's our anniversary. I drove 40 minutes to that farmer's market she likes for the proper vegetables. I even found that small batch bourbon her dad, Hunter, always goes on about. The whole time I'm setting up, I keep thinking back to our wedding day when Hunter pulled me aside and told me I better make sure his little girl gets everything she deserves. At the time, I thought it was just standard father of the bride stuff. 8 years later, nothing I do has ever quite seemed enough for him. Noon rolls around, and I've transformed our backyard. String lights hanging from the pergola I built last summer, her favorite playlist queued up on the outdoor speakers, a charcuterie board that took way too long to arrange. Those TikTok tutorials make it look way easier than it is. I even borrowed one of those fancy smokers from my buddy, since Hunter always criticizes my grill marks. I text Tracy, my sister, a picture of the setup. She replies, "Looks amazing. Hope they appreciate all this effort." Narrator voice. They would not, in fact, appreciate the effort. When Abigail wakes up, she seems genuinely surprised. That smile I haven't seen in months makes an appearance, and for a moment, I feel like I've finally done something right. She calls her dad right away to invite him over. He arrives at 3 p.m. sharp in his Tesla, which he never fails to mention is the top model. The first hour goes okay. Hunter makes his usual comments about the quaint size of our house and yard, but I let it slide, like always. Abigail seems happy, showing him all the food I've prepared, and I'm at the grill getting the steaks just right when I hear them around the corner of the house. They obviously don't realize I can hear them. Hunter says something about me still jumping through hoops like a trained dog, huh? I freeze, tongs in midair. The sizzle of the steak suddenly seems very far away. Abigail laughs in response. Not her usual laugh, but that slightly higher-pitched one she uses around her dad when she's trying to impress him. She tells him, "I'm like a reliable doormat, always there to step on." 8 years. 8 years I've been trying to impress these people. I stand there perfectly still as they laugh. My mind starts replaying so many moments. The times Hunter jokingly asked if I was ever going to get a real job. The nights Abigail seemed annoyed when I talked about my day. The way she'd roll her eyes when I tried to contribute to conversations with her friends. Thing is, I always thought it was just me being sensitive, that I was reading too much into things. I take a deep breath, flip the steaks, and add some seasoning. They walk back around, still smiling, and Abigail asks if the food is almost ready in that sweet voice she uses when she wants something. I nod and smile back. I serve them their perfectly cooked Wagyu steaks. Hunter comments that they're surprisingly not overcooked this time. Abigail laughs a little too hard. I excuse myself to grab more napkins from inside. In the kitchen, I grip the counter until my knuckles turn white. I want to scream, "Flip the table, tell them both to go to hell." But I don't. Instead, I grab the napkins and head back outside with a smile plastered on my face. The afternoon drags on. I keep the drinks flowing, play the perfect host, laugh at Hunter's stories I've heard 12 times before, clean up Abigail's spilled wine without complaint, all while this new awareness sits like ice in my stomach. Around 7 p.m., I'm clearing plates while they're sitting on the patio out front. I'm just around the corner when I hear Abigail tell her dad, "The best thing about him is that he doesn't even realize how pathetic he is." Hunter chuckles and says something about how she could have done so much better. I stand there, plates in hand, completely still. 8 years together. 3 years trying to have a kid. Countless family holidays where I sat through Hunter's subtle digs at my choices. All those times I defended Abigail to Tracy when she said Abigail didn't appreciate me, and this is what they really think of me. I walk back outside, set down a fresh bottle of that expensive bourbon, and smile. I tell them I'm going to start cleaning up the kitchen. Neither of them offers to help. Of course not. Inside, I pull out my phone and start scrolling through our joint accounts. I check our investment portfolio that I've been managing for years. I look at the house deed that's in both our names. I review the credit card statements, showing all the things I've been paying for. When they finally come inside, I'm the perfect host again. Hunter leaves around 10 p.m., giving Abigail a kiss on the cheek and me a firm handshake with that look he always has, like he's tolerating me. After he's gone, Abigail's tipsy and happy. She wraps her arms around me and tells me the surprise was so sweet and that Daddy had such a good time. I smile and tell her I'm glad. She falls asleep on the couch halfway through some reality show. I carry her to bed, tuck her in, and then go back downstairs. I open her laptop. We've always known each other's passwords. No secrets between us, right? I start digging. 3 a.m. I'm still awake, scrolling through messages, emails, bank statements. 2 hours ago, I texted Tracy, "You free to talk tomorrow? It's important." She replied immediately, "Of course. Everything okay?" I didn't answer. I find a folder of messages between Abigail and Hunter, spanning back years. Messages discussing me, planning things without me, jokes at my expense. Hunter suggesting she could trade up whenever she wants. Her replies never defending me, always agreeing. Then I find something else. Several large transfers from our joint savings to an account I don't recognize. Recent searches on her browser for apartments in Chicago where her college friend lives. A draft email to her boss asking about remote work possibilities. By the time the sun comes up, I've moved from shock to something else entirely. Something cold and focused. I close the laptop and put it back exactly where it was. I clean up the last bits of the barbecue from yesterday. I shower, dress, and make coffee. When Abigail wakes up, I bring her breakfast in bed. She smiles sleepily and says, "I'm too good to her." I just smile back. I've got 3 weeks until her big presentation at that conference in Denver. 3 weeks to make some very important decisions. 3 weeks to set things in motion. The doormat, it seems, has finally noticed he's being stepped on, and I think it's about time I showed them both exactly who they've been underestimating all these years. Update 1. First, thanks to everyone who commented on my last post. Reading your messages has been both validating and kind of surreal. Some of you called this fake. I get it. I wish it was. When your reality suddenly feels like a bad movie plot, it's disorienting as hell. Quick recap for new readers. Last Saturday was my 8th anniversary with Abigail. I planned a surprise barbecue with her dad, Hunter. While grilling, I overheard them calling me a trained dog and a reliable doormat. Later, Abigail told her dad the best thing about me is I don't realize how pathetic I am. That night, I found suspicious bank transfers and apartment searches on her laptop. Then I started planning. Day 1 after the barbecue. I meet Tracy for coffee at that little place with the weird murals. I'm surprisingly calm as I tell her everything. She's not surprised, which is its own kind of gut punch. She takes a sip of her latte and gives me that look. The one she gave me when we were kids, and I was being dense. She tells me she's been trying to point out Abigail's behavior for years, but I always defended her. Then she asks what my plan is. I honestly didn't know until the words came out of my mouth. I'm going to give Abigail exactly 3 weeks of the perfect husband she thinks she's entitled to. Then I'm going to disappear from her life so completely, it'll be like I never existed. Tracy nearly spits out her coffee. She asks if I'm sure I don't just want to confront Abigail. I show her the screenshots of the bank transfer. $27,000 moved to an account I've never seen before. Her eyes go wide. Why go through another dramatic confrontation when I can just opt out? Day 3. I call an attorney my buddy recommended on Discord. Just a consultation about estate planning. I learn interesting things about our state's marriage laws. I take notes on my password-protected cloud drive. Meanwhile, I'm cooking Abigail's favorite meals, asking about her day, picking up around the house without being asked. On the surface, nothing has changed, but inside I feel like I'm wearing a Halloween mask of my former self. Day 5. Abigail needs help preparing her presentation for the Denver conference. I stay up until 3 a.m. working on her slides. She's thrilled with the results and tells me I'm amazing. The words hit different now, like hearing a song you used to love after finding out the artist is trash. I open a new bank account at a different bank, move half my latest paycheck there instead of our joint account. Not enough for her to notice yet, but a start. Day 7, Hunter calls. He sounds agitated. His business is having technical issues with their server, and his regular IT guy is on vacation. Could I possibly help? I say, of course, I'd be happy to. Here's where it gets interesting. I drive to Hunter's house on Saturday morning. His study is exactly what you'd expect. Leather chairs, those pretentious books nobody actually reads, family photos where he's always in the center. He explains the problem, something about client files being inaccessible, and some important deadline on Monday. I fix the issue in about 20 minutes. It was literally just a permission setting. But instead of telling him immediately, I spend the next 2 hours working on it while actually exploring his network. I find folders labeled with Abigail's name, containing financial documents. I copy them to my cloud drive before I leave. Hunter offers me a drink, that same bourbon from the barbecue, and starts talking. The man loves to hear himself speak. He tells me about his recent investment in a new development project, how he's leveraged some properties, including the vacation house Abigail loves. He mentions how the market is tight right now, and he's stretched a bit thin. Interesting. Day 9, I update my resume and ping some contacts on LinkedIn. By that afternoon, I have 3 interviews lined up for the following week. All remote positions, all in different cities. When Abigail gets home, she notices I've changed the artwork in our living room, just swapped out some prints for others we already owned. She stares at the wall for a long moment, then asks why I did it. I smile and say I thought she'd like a change. She looks at me strangely before nodding and moving on. That night, she keeps glancing at me when she thinks I'm not looking. Day 12. I have a video interview during my lunch break. It goes well. Later, Abigail texts, asking if I want to grab dinner with her and Lisa. I say, sure, sounds fun. At dinner, Lisa seems uncomfortable. She's been Abigail's friend since college, always treated me well enough, but with that slight distance that says, "You're my friend's husband, not my friend." Tonight is different. She asks me questions about my day, laughs at my jokes, Abigail notices and keeps trying to redirect the conversation. When Abigail goes to the bathroom, Lisa leans forward and speaks quickly. She tells me Abigail has been talking about moving to Chicago, that she's been complaining about me for years. Lisa says she always defended me, that she thinks Abigail doesn't appreciate what she has. She looks genuinely upset. I thank her for telling me. When Abigail returns, I excuse myself to take a work call and step outside. I record a voice memo documenting Lisa's exact words while they're fresh in my mind. Day 14, I receive a job offer, fully remote, better pay, starting in 3 weeks. I accept it immediately. That evening, Hunter calls again with another emergency, this time with his home network. I head over, fix the simple issue, and use the opportunity to grab screenshots of some financial documents he leaves visible on his desktop when he steps out to take a call. Day 16. I notice our kitchen sink is leaking. Normally I'd fix it immediately. Instead, I mention it to Abigail and say, I'll get to it when I have time. She looks confused but says, okay. The leak gets worse over the next 2 days. She mentions it again. I apologize and say I've been swamped. She tries to hide her annoyance but fails. That night, I overhear her on the phone with Hunter complaining about the sink. I'm in the office pretending to work but actually transferring more money to my new account. Day 19. Abigail is packing for her Denver trip. She asks if I'll drive her to the airport tomorrow. I say, of course. She seems relieved and gives me a long hug, telling me she's going to miss me. For a split second, I almost feel bad. Almost. That night, I finalize everything. My new place is ready. Just a small furnished rental, but it's in my name only. My important documents are already there. My new bank accounts are set up. My resignation letter is scheduled to send automatically on Monday. I've documented every financial contribution I've made to our marriage, every penny Abigail has moved without discussing with me, every asset we share, and its value. Day 20. I drive Abigail to the airport. She kisses me goodbye and tells me she loves me. I tell her I love her too. 8 years of habit are hard to break. As soon as she's through security, I drive to our house and pack everything I'm taking. Just clothes, personal items, my gaming setup, and a few sentimental things. It fills half of my car. I leave my house key and wedding ring on the counter. Next to them, I place a single envelope with Abigail's name on it. I drive to my new place, set up my essentials, and then power off my phone. I'll check it in 3 days, but for now, I need the silence. The envelope contains everything she needs to understand exactly what happened. Copies of their conversations about me, screenshots of her secret bank transfer, printouts of her apartment searches, a clear accounting of our finances, and a letter. Not angry or emotional, just matter of fact, the truth laid bare. No dramatic accusations, no begging for explanations, just the evidence and a simple statement, I know my worth now. Day 23, I power on my phone for the first time in 3 days. 57 missed calls, 32 voicemails, 116 text messages. I listened to the first voicemail, time-stamped just hours after her flight would have landed in Denver. Her voice is shaking. She sounds confused at first, asking where I am, why I'm not answering. Then her tone changes as she mentions the envelope. What is all this? Just call me back. This isn't funny, Justin. The second voicemail an hour later. I don't understand. Those conversations were private. You had no right to go through my things. Call me back right now. The third, another hour after that. Please call me back. I know it sounded bad, but it's not what you think. Dad and I were just joking around. You know how he is. By the 7th voicemail, she's crying. By the 10th, she's angry again. By the 15th, she's pleading. I listen to them all one after another while unpacking my things in my new apartment. With each message, her voice grows more desperate. The last one, just 20 minutes ago. Justin, please. I'm boarding my flight home. We need to talk about this. I made a mistake. I don't understand what's happening. Where are you? Please be home when I get there. I save all the voicemails to my cloud drive, then set my phone aside. Tomorrow, Abigail will arrive home to an empty house. Hunter will find that the fixed server issues are starting to reappear, this time with new complications, and I'll be starting my new job in my new apartment with my new life. The doormat has left the building, finally. Update. Hey Reddit, sorry for the long wait since my last update. Things have been complicated. For those just joining, I overheard my wife, Abigail, and her father, Hunter, calling me a doormat at our anniversary barbecue. I discovered she was moving money to a secret account and planning something behind my back. After 3 weeks of preparation, I left while she was at a conference in Denver, leaving behind evidence of everything I discovered. When I last posted, I had just listened to Abigail's increasingly desperate voicemails. That was just the beginning. Day 24. I wake up in my new apartment. The shower pressure sucks, and there's a weird stain on the ceiling that looks disturbingly like Nicolas Cage's face. But it's mine. No backstabbing wife. No condescending father-in-law. I check my phone. 17 new voicemails overnight. I listen while making coffee. First voicemail, 11:47 p.m. Abigail just got home from the airport. She's sobbing so hard I can barely understand her. She keeps asking where all my stuff is, why I left my ring, whether this is some kind of sick joke. Second voicemail, 11:52 p.m. She's found the letter. She's switching between crying and anger. She claims I'm overreacting to a few harmless comments. She says I had no right to access her private conversations. Interesting how she's more upset about the invasion of privacy than what I actually found. Eighth voicemail, 2:18 a.m. She's clearly been drinking, slurring her words. She accuses me of planning this all along, says I'm ruining her life, threatens to call the police and report me missing. Good luck with that when I've already informed them I'm fine and left voluntarily. I save them all but don't respond. Instead, I check my email. Sure enough, Hunter has sent 3 increasingly agitated messages about his server issues coming back worse than before. The temporary fix I applied is gradually unraveling as designed, not broken enough to be obvious sabotage, just inconveniently unstable. I put my phone on silent and start my first day at the new job. Orientation, Zoom calls, paperwork, the usual first day stuff. It feels surreal doing something so normal while my old life implodes. Day 25. Lisa texts me. She heard from Abigail and wants to check if I'm okay. I confirm I'm safe but not ready to talk details. She says she understands and is here if I need anything. Tracy brings over takeout and helps me organize my new place. She finds the whole situation oddly hilarious. Every time my phone lights up with Abigail's name, Tracy raises an eyebrow and says she's surprised it took me this long to wake up. Harsh but fair. Day 27. Hunter calls from a different number I don't recognize. Rookie mistake. Answering it. He starts by speaking calmly, asking where I am, suggesting we talk like men. When I don't immediately respond, he switches to threats about how I've destroyed his daughter and how I'll regret crossing the family. I let him finish, then simply say, I have recordings of everything they've both said about me over the years. His silence is deafening. Then he hangs up. An hour later, Abigail texts, Dad told me what you said. You're bluffing. You don't have recordings. I send her a single audio clip from the barbecue, her voice clear as day calling me pathetic. Then I block her number. Day 30. My attorney confirms the certified letter outlining our separation terms was delivered yesterday. The terms are fair, actually more than fair to Abigail. I'm not trying to financially ruin her, just extract myself cleanly, but it does require her to account for the missing money. Day 31. I create a burner email account and check the account we shared for our Netflix and other subscriptions. There are 14 new notifications. Looks like Abigail tried accessing everything from our joint photo cloud to our streaming services, but the passwords have all been changed. I almost feel bad. Then I remember her smirking while her dad called me a trained dog, almost being the operative word. Day 33. A strange development. Lisa asks to meet for coffee. She seems nervous, fidgeting with her cup and avoiding eye contact initially. Then she shows me her phone, screenshots of a group chat where Abigail is telling their friends that I had a mental breakdown and abandoned her without warning. She's playing the victim, claiming to be worried about my mental health. Lisa tells me most of their friends aren't buying it. Apparently, Abigail has complained about me so much over the years that her sudden concern seems fake. One friend even commented, "Didn't you literally call him your doormat last month?" I thank Lisa for showing me and ask why she's doing this. She hesitates, then admits she always thought Abigail treated me poorly and that it bothered her, but she never said anything. Classic bystander effect, I guess. Day 35. The fallout accelerates. An email from Hunter's business partner expressing concern about the gaps in their security system that I supposedly left behind. Translation: the server issues are getting worse and Hunter blamed me. I respond with a detailed explanation of exactly what I did, nothing harmful, and what I found while there, evidence of some questionable business practices. I blind copy their compliance officer. Petty? Maybe. Satisfying? Absolutely. Day 38. Abigail finds my sister's address somehow and shows up unannounced. Tracy texts me immediately. Abigail is outside her apartment, mascara streaked down her face, demanding to know where I am. Tracy, being Tracy, takes a selfie with Abigail visible in the background and sends it to me with the caption, "Your drama is literally on my doorstep. RNLMMAO." I ask Tracy to tell Abigail I'll meet with her, but only with the attorney present. Abigail apparently breaks down completely at this, saying she just wants 5 minutes alone with me, that she can explain everything. Tracy, to her credit, stands firm. Abigail eventually leaves. Day 42. The meeting is set for tomorrow. My attorney warns me to stay calm, stick to facts, avoid accusation. I barely sleep. Day 43. We meet at the attorney's office. Walking in and seeing Abigail sitting there feels like stepping into an alternate reality. She looks smaller somehow, her confidence gone. Her first words to me, "I never thought you'd actually leave." It's such a weird thing to say, but it perfectly encapsulates our entire relationship. I was so predictable, so reliable in her mind, that she thought she could say and do anything without consequence. The meeting is surprisingly anticlimactic. My attorney lays out the terms. Abigail's attorney, clearly hired by Hunter, objects to a few points but goes quiet when we present the financial documentation. Abigail tries several times to speak to me directly, to explain that the money was for a surprise. A lie, that the comments were just venting. Another lie, that she never meant to hurt me. The biggest lie. I maintain eye contact but say nothing beyond what's necessary for the legal discussion. At the end, as we're gathering our things, she asks quietly, "Is this really what I want? If 8 years meant nothing to me?" I look at her, really look at her, and feel a strange mix of familiarity and distance. I tell her the 8 years meant everything to me. That's why her betrayal hurts so much. She starts to cry, and for a second, I feel that old instinct to comfort her. Instead, I walk out. Day 50. The separation agreement is signed. Hunter's business is struggling with ongoing technical issues that somehow trace back to some questionable financial practices. My fixes accidentally expose them. Karma's weird like that. Day 65. I'm settling into my new place. Fix the shower pressure myself. Put a poster over Nicolas Cage's ceiling face. My new job is going well. I've started playing basketball again on weekends with a local group I found on Meetup. Tracy and Lisa have become unlikely friends. They invite me to trivia night at a local bar. I actually have fun. It feels strange. Day 78. Final divorce papers arrive for my signature. 8 years of marriage ended with a few strokes of a pen. I feel a pang of sadness, not for what I lost, but for what I thought I had all along. Day 90. I run into Abigail at the grocery store. Pure coincidence. She looks tired. We make awkward small talk about the weather. She tells me she's moving to Chicago after all. I wish her well and mean it. As I'm walking away, she calls my name. When I turn, she says she's sorry, not for getting caught, but for who she was in our marriage. I nod and continue shopping. Day 100. I'm having dinner with Tracy when she asks if I regret any of it. I think about it while cutting my steak. Do I regret leaving? No. Do I regret how I left? Sometimes. Do I regret finding out the truth? Never. 6 months later, my life is unrecognizable from a year ago, in mostly good ways. I'm dating someone new, taking it slow, setting boundaries early. I've learned to identify red flags I used to ignore. I still think about Abigail sometimes, not with anger anymore, just a kind of distant recognition that we were never right for each other. I was trying to be someone I wasn't. She was pretending to love someone she didn't respect. Yesterday, I got a package. Inside was my old house key and wedding ring that I'd left behind, along with a short note from Abigail. I hope you found what you were looking for. I have. It was self-respect all along. The doormat has been replaced with something sturdier. Like today's story? A super thanks helps me keep bringing you the best daily content. Your support means I can keep doing what I love. Thanks for being awesome.